It is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and we are live. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian, founder of the African History Network. Hope everybody's doing well. We notice these are crazy times dealing with the coronavirus and the spread of it. So I wanted to do an update on what's been going on, what's transpired today and yesterday, some as well. Dealing with this, we saw that there are over 9,200 cases of coronavirus in the U.S. Also, we see that the bill that the House of Representatives passed the Senate and was signed into law by Donald Trump today. And this deals with paid sick leave and some other things. So we'll talk about that. We're going to do an update on what's going on. There's been some new research on coronavirus as well, COVID-19. And new research shows that it can persist in air for hours and on surfaces for days. Okay. So I've seen different news outlets talk about this new study. So we're going to give you some information on that as well. Okay, so everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. We're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. A personal page, Michael Imhotep. We're on YouTube, Michael Imhotep on YouTube, IMHOTEP. And also we're broadcasting on Periscope, The AHN Show on Periscope, The AHN Show on Periscope. Okay. African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. And if you like this type of information, you can donate and help support us. $ The AHN Show through Cash App. $ The AHN Show through Cash App. And on PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Okay, and let me monitor this here on the second laptop as well. Okay, so let's look at some updates, what's going on today. I saw the press conference that Trump did, the coronavirus task force, along with Donald Trump. And then also, Trump has consistently blamed the Obama administration for the shortcomings of the Trump administration in handling the coronavirus crisis. Okay. And we have some reporting on that as well, because one of the former Obama era officials talked about how when the Trump administration came into office, the Obama administration during that transition walked the incoming Trump administration officials through a hypothetical scenario in which a pandemic worse than the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, which shut down cities like Seoul and London, how they walk them through a pandemic and let them know something like that can happen again. Okay, so we'll talk about that as well. All right. Let me see here. I want to make sure we're live. Okay, so Donald Trump has signed into law a bill to ensure paid leave benefits to many Americans. This is part of a broader aid package to fight the effects of this pandemic, which the World Health Organization has labeled as a global pandemic, which the Trump administration has called a national emergency as of Friday the 13th, March 13. Okay, remember, this is just a couple of weeks after he basically said it was a Democratic hoax. Okay, now he said it was a national emergency. We just saw on Tuesday, he said that he always knew it was a pandemic before it was even called a pandemic. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie. Now, the legislation also promises free coronavirus testing to anyone who needs it, including the uninsured, and increases health funding around the country. The bill also increases health funding around the country, because that's extremely important, and supports nutrition programs such as the food stamp system. Okay. Now, China on Thursday said that there had been no cases of domestic coronavirus infections in the country the previous day for the first time since the outbreak began. Okay, so that's good news coming out of China. All right. And we know that when we listen to Dr. Anthony Fauci, when we listen to other experts, experts. Okay. We know that the indicators that we see, there's charts, the graphs, things like this, these are lagging indicators in general. All right. But there's good news coming out of China that the previous day they did not have any new cases. China on Thursday said there had been no cases of domestic coronavirus infections in the country the previous day for the first time since the outbreak began. All 34 infections diagnosed on Wednesday were in people arriving into China from abroad, the National Health Commission said. It was a significant milestone for it was a significant milestone for China, where the virus was first reported in mid-November. All right, and for a lot of the research I've seen on this, they started really seeing it and noticing it in December 2019, when Chinese are going to the hospitals with this virus and the doctors and scientists don't know what it is. Okay, so it's a new strain of a coronavirus. As if you've seen my previous broadcast, um, is SARS-CoV-2. Okay, um, but it's SARS-CoV-2, and it's a new strain of the SARS virus, which is which is COVID-19, coronavirus 19. All right, so two members of Congress, Representatives Ben McAdams, Democrat from Utah, and Mario Diaz-Balart, Republican from Florida, said Wednesday they had tested positive for coronavirus also. Okay, now this causes people to also ask the question, how is it that Congress people, senators, athletes, celebrities, how is it they can get the testing, but you have doctors who are saying they have patients who have symptoms, who are not celebrities, who are not famous, who are not wealthy. The doctors are trying to get the tests to test their patients, and they can't get the test. So we just saw Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets is diagnosed with coronavirus. We know Idris Elba, Craig Melvin on MSNBC, Al Roker on MSNBC. We see famous people, we see celebrities, we see members of Congress, but everyday people who doctors are trying to get the test for can get the test. So when we look at Italy, Italy's coronavirus death toll increased by 475 on Wednesday, the largest daily increase recorded in any country. The state of New York State has confirmed cases that are the state of New York has more confirmed cases than all but 10 countries in the world. The state of New York. So as in different cities, different states, more testing is being done. There's still a massive shortage of tests, but more testing is being done. So as more testing is being done, we see the number of diagnosed cases skyrocketing. This is what I said was going to happen. Okay. As more tests are made available, more testing is done, you're going to see the number skyrocket. Okay, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you want to identify those people who have it so they can self-quarantine and not contaminate other people. Also, there's new reporting on younger people who are getting coronavirus and are suffering from it as well. It's having a bigger impact on younger people. It's having a bigger impact on millennials than first thought. So we'll talk about that as well. I posted articles dealing with that also. Okay, so the White House coronavirus plan aims to send $2,000 to many Americans. Aims to send $2,000 to many Americans. It includes $300 billion for small businesses as markets continue to drop. We saw the stock market dropping today. Okay, and this takes me back. Let me just step back for a minute. This takes me back to 2016. And I warned people in 2016 about Donald Trump and how he was totally unfit to be president, totally unfit to run the country. He doesn't understand how to run government. He really doesn't understand business in the first place. If you really ethics, social ethics one of the things we study are frauds. Okay. People who understand business knew that Donald Trump was not a successful business person. He didn't understand business. He doesn't understand government. And I warned people that Trump would be a disaster. I warned people that Trump was not fit to be president. I also warned people who were talking about, we're just going to focus on economic empowerment and invest in the stock market and not deal with politics. I told them that's the wrong move. We need to do both. You see where we are. Look at where the stock market is now. I told people in 2016 this, okay? Because my degree is not in history, it's in business administration. I've done business consulting for 7 years, taught entrepreneurship for 7 years, help people start businesses, get funding for businesses, critique their business plans. I've managed African-American owned businesses where we had contracts with the city of Detroit, county of Wayne, and state of Michigan. So I've dealt with government. I helped write public policy for the city of Detroit under the Kwame Kilpatrick administration. So I've dealt with business and government. And the two intersect. We need to deal with economic empowerment. We need to deal with wealth creation. We need to invest in the stock market, et cetera, buy gold, buy 10-year treasury notes. And we need to deal with politics. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. To deal with economic empowerment and say we're not going to deal with politics and we're not going to vote and we're not going to stop this madman from getting into office because he's dangerous is a bad move. You see, all you got to do is look. What I said in 2016 is true. The proof is in the Jell-O pudding. All you have to do is look and see what's happening. Okay, so with that being said, let's continue. So the U.S. Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to ensure paid leave benefits to many Americans as coronavirus upends the labor market. It will now go to Trump for enactment. Okay, now we saw that Trump signed into law the Families First bill that passed the House of Representatives Saturday morning, 12:30 a.m. What was that, Saturday? That was the 14th, 12:30 a.m. The Senate just signed it. The Senate just signed it into law. I think it was Wednesday. The Senate just signed it into law. Okay, they should have. One of the problems with the Senate is Moscow Mitch McConnell is Senate Majority Leader. And Moscow Mitch McConnell runs the Senate. The Senate was on a 3-day hiatus. As soon as the bill passed the House of Representatives Saturday morning, 12:30 a.m., Moscow Mitch McConnell should have called for an emergency meeting of the Senate to take up that bill and pass it on behalf of the American people, on behalf of their constituents. When you look at the bill, there were 8 Republicans who voted against this bill. These people need to be voted out of office. Okay, these people are playing with people's lives. And Moscow Mitch McConnell is up for re-election November 3rd, 2020. He's dangerous. He must be voted out of office. He controls the U.S. Senate. Okay, no bill can come to the U.S. Senate floor for debate without his approval. This is what people have to understand. So all the people talking about reparations, we want reparations, we want reparations. You do realize Mitch McConnell has already said reparations is dead on arrival in the U.S. Senate. You do realize it. Right? You can compete on reparations. And